Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World for the breakfast show. Something that me and Matthew like to pull out a little bit on Sunday morning when we've had a bit of a late night on a Saturday or whatnot. Of in this case, so the whole match reaction team, had travelled to Derby. Must have been a painful journey, I got to say, especially that journey back. The question we will be discussing this evening, or this morning, as well as talking about the game, is. Generally speaking, when you lose the away fans, you lose the players, it's usually over. But we're asking a question: is time up for Errol Bulut at Cardiff City, or is there a way back? Because I'm pretty sure that the only way he's hanging on to his job at the moment is because Mehmet Dalman brought him in. But let's talk about it. I am, of course, joined by superstar Matthew Angel, bright and early, mate. How are you? How was your trip?
Yeah, not too bad. It was a good. Obviously, I took Rob and his boy, and obviously my boy and one of their friends as well. So it was the first time Rob had been away for a long time. First time his boy had been to an away game. So they had a good day. Obviously, we'll come on to talk about the game, but yeah, long day. I think we left at 8:00 to get up there early, and we got home about 9:45, I think. So yeah, it was a long day when you look at it like that. But I've been struggling all week with this bloody chest and cough and cold and that. So it's been a tough week this week.
Yeah, I heard from someone within the travelling Cardiff City group, shall we say, and they were not happy with the reaction they got. And I don't think they blame the fans. I think the players just feel a bit like they're doing what they're told.
Yeah.
And then they're getting the abuse then. And it's like, I kind of understand that to a certain degree. But let me tell you something. I just want to address this straight away. Jeff has just put this in there. He said, Aaron Ramsey as player coach's interim appointment. Well, I can tell you with 100% certainty, as of last night, that was not happening. And all I can tell you is that is from, there is no better source than the person who said that. Whether it happens in the future, whether it hasn't been discussed with him or whoever yet, is another thing. And like, here's the thing, right? I don't like speculating about people's jobs because at the end of the day, it's his job, isn't it? And it's his career and the rest of it. But Errol Bulut has no one else to blame but himself, because I can guarantee you, right? I'm going to use Craig Bellamy as an example. I'm not saying Craig Bellamy, the person, just as a hypothetical, right? A Craig Bellamy type manager gets more out of this squad. This squad, Cardiff City squad on paper, is easily in the top 8 in the Championship. Easily.
Yeah, 100%.
Not if you set up with 2 defensive midfielders and just play backwards, sideways. No one runs around and there's no energy. And everything is about structure and keeping hold of the ball. Well, that's fine. You need that. But you have to do something with the ball when you get it and when you win it back. And to me, like, they're just not doing that. And it's a big problem, mate, because we've all seen what Ruben Colwell's capable of. We've all seen what Chris Willock is capable elsewhere. We've all seen what Ollie Tanner did against Swansea in the second half, against Bristol Rovers. Other games, we know what he's capable of. So is he performing like he did yesterday, for instance, Ollie Tanner, when he came on? Because he's been given instructions to not take on his man and not do certain things. You've got to think about it. Like,
I thought he was poor when he came on yesterday, but
it was weird though, mate, wasn't it? Because it was the opposite. He's done so well since he had that horror show in the first game. He's been very direct, and then all of a sudden he's gone back to not beating his man, not being direct. That's got to be an instruction, mate. Same as Ruben Colwell dropping deeper and deeper and deeper to get the ball. That's got to be an instruction because he wants him to do more defensive work. Well,
in fairness to Ruben Colwell, my opinion this is, and other people might think, I thought he was the only one yesterday who looked as if he wanted to be out there to try to do anything.
Oh, You just reminded me of something. Go on, carry on.
He was the only one for me who looked as if he wanted to be out there playing. It was just so flat yesterday. The number of times we had the ball, nobody wanted to drive the ball forward. It's just like you said, it's playing this sideways bloody football, and it's just so, it was so frustrating to sit in the stands yesterday in Derby and watch it, because we're all screaming, go forward with the ball type of thing, and you knew what was coming. Passing the ball back to the keeper, and we'll come to talking about playing out from the back. I just don't think we're capable of doing it.
Well, I don't know if you caught it earlier in the week, but I think it was with Rhodri. Statistically, more goals have been scored from teams trying to play out from the back and being caught in possession this season than I think the previous 10 seasons or whatever it is. And even yesterday in the Premier League, there was 3 or 4 goals caused by teams trying to play out from the back and losing it. And the only team who adapted, who I saw yesterday from the highlights, was Man City going direct to Haaland and then playing off him. You have to be adaptable in your game. So if you're doing the same thing all the time and expecting different results, I don't know what you're expecting. Even so, as you know, like, I've been very pro Bulut, mate. But even yesterday, right? Team selection, okay? El Ghazi starts, fine. Colwell starts. I think that was more through he didn't have anything else. Joe Rose is available, right? So for me, away from home, the one player in the midfield 3 who played the last game, the one player who's not being dropped is Alex Robertson. Because away from home, you need his energy. But you also need his ability on the ball. When you win it back, you're playing on the break, on a counter, and the transition away from home. Alex Robertson's vital to that, because when you win it back, he's the one who can play that ball through the eye of a needle or do something a bit special. So Joe Rose is a good passer, and he reads the game well. So I didn't necessarily have an issue with Joe Rose starting. I just thought, right, if you felt like Joe Rose was the man for that game, fine, take Siopis out. Although I will say,
he was.
I just want to say, mate, the goal, the one that Ebo Adams misses.
Yeah.
Any other player in the Cardiff City side is the defender, and that's a goal, because Siopis didn't give it up. I know it doesn't matter, but just it's like I see a lot of people criticizing him. Not saying he's the best, but
I think he deserved criticism yesterday. I think he was better second half. First half, the amount of balls he gave away, just losing the ball was shocking. I thought he was a bit better second half. But at the end of the day, Si, right, you got, I don't know how many fans went up there yesterday, but the away end was full.
1,900.
But it seemed more on that, if I'm honest. But when you work it out, you're paying, what did me and Josh pay? 30 odd quid for the tickets. You're looking at 40, 50 quid in petrol to go up. Food, drinks when you're out there. So you're looking at about 150, 200 quid for me and Josh yesterday then. Right? And I don't want to come across ranting and raving, but we've got an opinion. I'm not saying our opinions are always right. And there's a way, obviously, to get your opinion across. And I'm not one of these ones who will shout in the stands, "You fucking crap," and all this, excuse the language. But, we've got an opinion, and it matters. Like, it matters to us fans. At the end of the day, we're the ones who keep the club going, type of thing. Well, it should be, really. It was just so frustrating again yesterday.
The fact is, mate, right, yesterday was his chance, was Errol Bulut's chance to say, I can do this. I can do this job. And he had 2 weeks and get a reaction out of that team. And he made changes. He brought Alnwick in and Bagan and people like this. But
there was no change in the style of football, was it?
Granted, exactly the same system, same shape, same everything. And here's the thing, right, mate, is I see a lot of people calling him a coward. Now, I don't really buy into that in terms of, I don't think there's a need for name calling and stuff like that. But I accept why people are saying it. He's he's been real quick to call out the young players, but he hasn't once called out the experience. Let him down every single game this season. Every game this season. Gutas, Siopis, Ramsey a little bit. Who else? NG has been shocking this season.
I don't know what happened with Ramsey yesterday. He came off at half time. Not Ramsey, NG came off at half time. So I don't know if he picked up a niggle or I haven't seen anything come of that. But that'll be interesting because I've heard rumours that that potentially there might be some, things going on behind the scenes with NG, really. And I'm just wondering if the manager have lost his patience with him and he just took him off yesterday.
Wouldn't be surprised at all. There was an issue with him last year, and then towards the end of the season, he has got a reoccurring injury. But I think Errol Bulut's under pressure. I said this in the Derby podcasts I do. The problem is when people are under pressure and stress, they revert to type. I think most managers these days, because everything is so overcoached, they're not risk takers. They will revert to type. So you're going to see the same structure, the same shape. I was amazed that Mate wasn't in the squad. I don't know if he's got an injury. I was pleased because I thought, well, that's progress.
Yeah.
But then I saw Robertson was on the bench. I was so disappointed with that, mate, because I just think tactically, in a system where you're going to sit in and try and hit teams on the break, you need that player. But it's an interesting one because I don't know I can't see how he survives it. I got to be honest. But do you sack him before Leeds and then the new manager's got Leeds as the first game? Would you leave it till after the Leeds game? But then what if he gets a result? Like, here's the thing, right? Say Cardiff are thinking, right, we're going to sack him. But instead of throwing a new manager or an interim manager, say they have Darren Pearce or Aaron Ramsey or whoever as an interim manager, do you throw them under the bus and have Leeds as the first game? It was probably going to be a very difficult game for a team like us who's low on confidence. But then what if Errol Bulut goes and gets a big victory there? Like, that can really, you can't sack him then. And there was rumours galore last night, mate. That he was gone. And I was expecting this morning, at one point last night, I was expecting this morning to be a breaking news show about him going. And there's still a possibility, I think, that he goes today. All I will say is all of my friends, sources, whatever you want to call them, every single one of them says he's done and he's going, except one. And that one person is similar to me in that he knows people at the very, very, very top. And he says, no, that he won't go yet. They'll give him at least another couple of games, which is the other thing, mate, is if we lose, say we lose the next 3, we could be adrift. Now, It's still a long way to go and a lot of points to play, but the championship is a hard slog, mate. And you don't want to be 5, 6, 7 points adrift at the bottom because then you have got an issue. But I know you've got to go back to work and stuff now, mate. But so you give us some thoughts, mate. Like, what would you, if you were in charge of Cardiff City now, today, this morning, last night, what would you do?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Like I said, I've always been pro Bulut.
Just quickly, sorry. I will say he still hasn't had all the players that he signed. He hasn't been able to field a team that's got Darland, Fish, Robertson, El Ghazi, Willock. Like, he's never been able to field a side of it, all of them. But yeah,
he had the opportunity yesterday, didn't he? Like I said, Robertson was on the bench. What's happened with Robinson? He wasn't in the squad yesterday. I don't know if he's picked up an injury. Again, has he fallen out of favour with the manager? He seemed to knuckle down, worked hard pre-season, scored 6 or 7 goals, and we haven't seen him. That game yesterday was crying out for a Robinson, Kanga, and it's no disrespect to Kanga, right? Because he might be a brilliant player. We haven't seen it yet, and he just doesn't suit the way we want to try and play the game. He's not going to, run 20, 30 yards behind somebody to latch on, and whereas Robinson probably would. So I don't know what's going on there again. But yeah.
I think Robinson was injured, mate. I think because he had a knock before the last game, and he was struggling for it. So I think he's injured, but I will do a bit of digging on that. Would you change the manager, mate?
I think it's probably yeah. I probably would.
Here's the thing, right? If we change the manager now, and look, I'm pro Bulut. I still, up until probably the Borough game, was like, I still think he can be the man.
Just looking at Leeds next week. If we don't do something or something's done, that atmosphere at CCS next week is going to be shocking.
And the other problem, mate, and this is why I think they might sack him before the Leeds game, is it's the Soul Bamba tribute, and you don't want people. You don't want a toxic, volatile atmosphere or something like that, and that's why I think they may.
Yesterday, they done a tribute to Sol yesterday. I think I caught a little bit of it on my vlog I done, which will be going out a bit later. But yeah, that was amazing yesterday. Fair play to all the Derby fans. Everybody applauded him for the minute or whatever it was, and it was a nice touch.
Yeah, fair play, mate. Wilfred Kanga, mate, I want to talk to you about just before you go, because obviously you were there. I watched it on TV, and he looks, mate, I'm shocked by him, right? Because if you look at his goal scoring record, he scored goals everywhere he goes. Yes, the European leagues are different to the Championship, but you know what, mate? He looks like he don't want to be here. He looks like he's here to get paid and go. He does not look like he's bought into the cause. He does not look like he's bought into the club. He's not putting the effort in. He's not mobile. He's not moving. In fact, I don't know if he's mobile because he haven't picked up a full sprint. Yeah. And that's on Bulut. That's on Bulut, mate. Not on Bulut that he's not running, but that's on Bulut that he keeps playing him, because he's been like that for 3, 4, 5 games, however many he's played. He should have been dropped and told, fucking move and put the effort in, or I'll play the youngsters, or I'll play someone else. Mate, it's infuriating. As I said at the top of the show, when you lose the away fans, like when you lose the players, sometimes a manager can pull things round with a couple of wins, because ultimately the players will be happy if they're winning.
Yeah.
When you lose the away fans, that's the hardcore. That's the loyalist of loyal. They're the ones who, when other people last season were calling for Bulut to not be given a new contract, the away fans were the ones who were singing, keeping him there, all the rest of it. When you lose them, I think you've got a problem. And I just wonder, I can't see how they keep him.
No, and you like you said, nearly 2,000 went up yesterday. Fair play to everybody who made the trip up. After the game, there was boos and frustrations, obviously. Cardiff players then, the ones that were left on the field, I think 2 players come over to the away fans within about 20 yards to say thank you. O'Dowda was there punching the badge on his chest as if to try and galvanise everybody. Kind of thought, we needed that during the game, not at the final whistle. But I understood why he done it, is to say, we're all in it together type of thing. We need you, but I was just quite disappointed then with the rest of the players. They kind of just stayed in the centre circle. You know what it's like when you've been at Cardiff City Stadium and away fans, win, lose or draw, the other fans are over in that corner for a minute or 2 minutes or whatever, just applauding and just thanking the fans who paid their hard-earned cash to come and follow you. For the players to stay in that centre circle yesterday and not come over, I just thought was shocking.
Yeah, it's poor, isn't it? Because, the people who were going to watch are not on 15 grand a week or 10 grand a week or 5 grand a week, even 2-3 grand a week. Some of them, it's a lot of money to go and do that. And you go to most games away, you've got a season ticket, and it feels like a kick in the teeth then, doesn't it? When you've seen a piss poor performance with very little fight and energy, and then they can't even be bothered to come and say goodbye, say thanks,
I just wanted to pick up on one comment in the chat about Bulut refusing to speak to the press. I don't think he was allowed to, was he? Because obviously his ban, he's not allowed any involvement in the
match. He's allowed to speak to the media afterwards.
Oh, was it?
Like not in the post-match. So you have two, right? So you have post-match interview straight after the game. Obviously, if it's on TV, then it would be like with them. And then there's a post-match press conference. I believe he can do the post-match press conference and refuse to do so. Or it might be the other way around and he refused. But basically, the media requested an interview and he said no. Fact is, mate, did you have seen the post-match interview with Omar Risa?
Yeah, I did catch up with her, yeah.
I just think, and especially I've heard a few things, like I've heard him and Errol Bulut have been literally having shout down arguments like in front of the squad, and there's a lot of they're not getting on, shall we say, right? Which is mental because James, the Cardiff City, the football club, and the owners, they wanted James Rhodri to be his assistant. It was all agreed, and Errol Bulut vetoed that and said, "No, I want Omar Risa." Omar Risa comes in and he can't work with him. Well, like, what are you supposed to like? If so, I know people want to blame Mehmet,
but it's coming out like that. Coming out like that, then in our performances, because he's coming in as an attack coach. Where's our attacking football? We're not playing attack. We're playing side to side, getting the ball out to the wingers, passing it bloody backwards.
Mixed messages.
Go on,
well, it's question, mate. It's mixed messages, isn't it? It's like football is like very disjointed, which it sounds like the behind the scenes is. But to me, it's like people are very quick. People will want to blame Mehmet Dalman. They want to blame Tan. They want to blame Kenneth Cho. But like, they've backed this manager. The squad they've given him on paper is good. All right, you could argue they should have been a bit more proactive to get a striker who's proven. But that's not like getting a number 9 who's proven is not that easy. Like on a budget, it's not as just click your fingers. I'll have you.
No.
And that's like, and they've brought him in. Like Cardiff, you look at that Cardiff side, mate. Player for player versus Derby, right? And it's no disrespect to Derby because I think they're doing tremendous, and I hope they stay up because I like their manager and I like the way they play, and I like a lot of their players. The ex-Cardiff players I quite like as well. But like player for player on paper, Cardiff's squad is good enough. It's better than Derby's, but Derby are a team who play for each other, play together, and they play it like they play football the way football's supposed to be played.
Yeah.
They play possession football, by the way, mate.
What's that?
Derby play possession football. They're just not boring.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with them yesterday, to be honest. I thought Mendes Lang looked really good for him, to be fair. Done the Ayatollah for the Cardiff fans. I think that's the biggest cheer we had yesterday. But just before I do shoot off, Pride Park, what a set of fans they got, the atmosphere they create. I was saying to Rob in the car on the way home about how much, we'd like to replicate that. There was nearly 29,000 fans there. So say 27,000 home fans. It was incredible. It was packed. It was, excuse the pun, it was rammed. But,
everything Cardiff used to be, mate.
Yeah. It's frustrating, but onwards and upwards. I'll be there again now next week for Leeds. So but it'll be interesting to see what comes.
Let me ask you a quick question, then, mate, before you go.
Yes.
What did you make of Will Fisher's debut?
I wasn't bowled over, but obviously he's coming off the bench, straight in at half time yesterday. Done a couple of good things, a couple of bad things. But again, it's game time for him now, isn't it? And again, he's been obviously going out there and told to play in a certain way, I suppose. And at the moment, the certain way that Cardiff players are being told to play, it's just not working. It's just not working.
Does it?
No. But I think potentially he's got, like, obviously he come into the back two, didn't he? And Chambers went out onto the right, and I thought it didn't look too bad, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because I think Chambers wants to play centre back. So, like, I still think but especially if Bulut stays, I think he should switch to a 3 just to try and
Something's got to change. He promised us all these changes, and other than the players in the team sheet yesterday, nothing else has changed. Nothing at all. But there we go. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you, buddy. Have a good day.
Your player ratings thing, and then we'll be wrapping it up, mate. But
happy days. I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, mate. See you later. Your vlog, Matthew's vlog is out later on today, so make sure you check it out. Cheers, mate. So yeah, Matthew's their away day vlog will be out about 11 o'clock. We're going to do some player ratings now and just talk about it. If anyone's got any questions, I see like people, away fans mainly in the comments in the live chat now saying, be patient and stick with him. It's early days. The problem is for Cardiff is it's not just the start of the season, it's the end of last season. This was coming, and the summer, the signings, and even this international break was supposed to be the difference maker. This was supposed to be where we saw a change from the manager at the start of this season. People would accept losing if they hadn't been promised changes, or they would accept losing if you're trying to win. And at the moment, it feels like Cardiff City are not trying to win. They're just trying not to lose, which is a big problem. If I'm honest, I'm not entirely sure how Errol Bulut will survive. Whether he survives this week until after the Leeds game is one thing. But on the plus side, I thought Will Fish done all right. It's a massive blow, mind, to have Jesper Darland out for 8 weeks, I think it is. Because I think he could have made a big difference, not just in his defensive skills, but the way he passes the ball. He breaks lines, he brings the ball out. I thought he made a real good start to the season, to his time at Cardiff. But unfortunately, he's picked up an injury, and that in itself was almost a bit shambolic. Like, he went down 3 times against Middlesbrough. Surely the second time he goes down, the medical staff at the club have got to go, no, get off before you do more damage. Now, I have no idea if he did, if the injury was just the injury or if he did more damage after or what. But what I can tell you is that it definitely didn't help, did it? Yeah, very disappointing. Very disappointed with the general attitude. I agreed with what Matt said. I thought Ruben Colwell, Fish, maybe. That was about it yesterday. Like, the thing with Ruben, he looked like he wanted to be playing for the club, whereas some of the others looked like they were not interested. And I think that's probably a bit of an issue, The Kanga one is baffling to me because I think that he'd want to prove a point. He'd want to, kick on and get his season started, and he looks like he doesn't want to be there, which is problematic to say the least. We'll go through we'll give some player ratings now in a minute, but if you have got any comments or questions, I know it's early, but feel free to jump them in. So we have Matthew and Rob's vlog. The Flower Hour vlog will be out about 11. Give that a watch. It's even though it was a poor result, it's a good vlog. And then tonight we have the breakdown with myself, where we'll break it all down in a lot more detail, and we'll kind of really have a look at the stats and the way Cardiff set up, and was there any change or was there not? And I think there wasn't, but I will have I'll rewatch the game, and I'll also have a look at the stats and stuff, and see if if there's anything to cling on to. My initial thought is probably not, but we got to say at the end of the day, and like Matt made another good point he made there, was like, at the end of the day, we'll be there next week. Will the manager is, I guess, the question. I'm not sure he will. But I guess we'll find out. But yeah, please do join us for the breakdown tonight. I'm hoping to get, I'm hoping Jamie's going to join me as well. Just waiting for him to confirm. But if it's not, it'll just be like normal with myself. And like I say, we'll have a good old breakdown of everything. And I'd be interested in Jamie's take. You know, he's home and away every week. And it is poor, like for the players to kind of stand, you know, in the halfway line or whatever, and kind of applaud. I think that's poor. I do, because you know, those fans spent a lot of money to get up there, and you know, you can't go and give them your shirts and say thanks. It's a bit poor, and like that is where the senior players, the management, you know, they should be telling them, get over there and say thanks to the fans, because they're the ones who are supporting you week in, week out, and they certainly don't get the same wages as what you get. But right then, just bringing up the player ratings myself. But what did you let me know your ratings? I'm always interested in how people sort of differentiate or you know, people's different views, because you know, I see a lot of criticism for a lot of players, and sometimes I think, oh, I don't know if I see that. But there were certain players I thought were really, really bad yesterday, or really poor, and then there was others who I thought did all right-ish. No one I didn't think particularly was great, but some were better than others, maybe, is the way. But you know, like in Cyprus's case, I thought he had a really poor first half, but he's become that sort of scapegoat figure now, where people are going to pick up on every little thing that he does. He's an experienced player though, but you never see the manager call him out. It's weird. You know, I get it, he works hard, but quick enough to call the younger players out, and that is where the people, like fans, get frustrated, and they start talking about, you know, calling him a coward and this thing. I don't buy into that necessarily, but yeah, that's where it comes from at the end of the day. So let's have a look. Player ratings. Oh, painful. Just thinking about it is painful. Oh, making me feel a bit queasy. Most of these are going to be 4 5s, I think. Most of these will be 4s and 5s. Right. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Elra Senior says, can't see Nathan Jones if Bulut is staying. Who's the best viable available managers in League One and free agents at the moment? I fear Wagner or Alex Neil could be an excellent dugout. Bloomfield from Wycombe Wanderers is on the short list, mate, I think. Among others, I would be. Someone said to me the other day, Sam Allardyce. And like, I know, like when people hear Sam Allardyce, they'll be like, oh my God, Sam Allardyce is a much better manager than people give him credit for. I'm not saying he should be the Cardiff manager, by the way, but I'm just saying he's better than what people give him credit for. But like, let's be honest, can you see Vincent Tan trusting Sam Allardyce? Can you see Vincent Tan paying his wages? I don't think so. It's difficult. I just saw some people saying Ryan Lowe, Ryan Mason, you know, young. I still think, I just hope we don't revert back to your Wardocks and your Mick McCarthy's, like these type of managers. I would like to see us try and find a young progressive manager, whoever that may be. You know, a couple of years ago, I probably would have said Gareth Ainsworth, but he went off the boil a little bit. But like, I really like the way he plays football. But then I see people, so, you know, people put 2 and 2 together, don't they? And they say, oh, well, if Bulut's going, we're going to have Darren Pearce as interim manager. And people were already moaning about that. Like, the same manager who's just brought through, or, you know, Conte, Pacquiao and Ruben and Joel Colwell and all these players, like this big chunk of players, which everyone wants to play, but they're going to moan if the manager who just brought them all through is going to be the interim manager. Makes no sense to me. Not saying that Darren is ready, not saying that Darren should be the new manager, not saying anything like that. I'm saying as an interim, so we can get the appointment right, there's worse choices. He knows the players. He'll have the respect of the players. And you know what else he'll do? He'll play football the right way. But I don't, it is what it is. But there's no denying that Errol Bulut is under a tremendous amount of pressure, and I struggle to see how he gets out of it now. I really do. So Jeff says Kanga's used to having some sort of service. I thought he held the ball up well enough and laid off okay, but that's not his game, I reckon. Yeah, I don't think he is that type of player. I think he's a mobile target man who likes to have the ball to feet and maybe get in the little pockets of space, run at people. But what I will say, mate, is regardless of whether he's a target man, he's an out-and-out number 9, he's a false 9, whatever his preferred position is, he's playing as a solo striker. He's got to put the work in and the effort in, and I really felt like he hasn't been putting the work in. I feel like he is kind of like he's phoning it in a little bit. So that's an interesting one. Ian is a Derby fan. He says, Gary Rowett, he'd get the best out of your players if you were to change managers. Appreciate the comment, mate. Thank you. I think the Cardiff squad is good. I will fight that to the death with anyone. Like, the actual squad is good. There's, one or two players need to be probably moved on and replaced. But generally speaking, the overall squad that they've assembled now is very, very good. And a progressive attacking manager gets so much more out of this group. A group with El Ghazi and Willock and Ruben Colwell and Aaron Ramsey and Ollie Tanner and Robinson and Kanga and Robertson. It's like, I can't understand how difficult it is to get a mix of young, exciting footballers and experienced, exciting professionals to just play football properly. Like, I don't understand. We look so uncoached. And that's the thing which is worrying. We've had 2 weeks and that's the worst performance we've put in all season. Absolute dire. But equally, I'm not entirely sure we haven't put together a good performance all season. It's been in bits and pieces. I thought, like that the Derby goal, the cross comes in and no defenders react. I know that he's running onto it and it's a good movement, it's a good finish, but really, like, not one defender thought to go to the ball. And it's so strange, so strange that these experienced defenders and young, exciting defenders, like, none of them look like they've been coached. It's crazy. Right. Cardiff City player ratings. Jeff just put his in. He says Alnwick 7, Chambers 6, NG 3, Gutas 5, Bagan 7, Cyopis 7, Rules 6, O'Dowda 5, Kanga 5, Colwell 5, El Ghazi 3, Fish 7, Robertson 4, Willock 3, Tanner 5. Interesting ones in there, mates. Very interesting ones. Ethan says team selection is horrid. Yeah, mate. I couldn't believe. I said it earlier, but just in case you missed it, like, away from home, you know that he's going to try and set up solid and play on the break. Out of the midfield 3 that sort of played the last game, the only player I ain't dropping 100% is Alex Robertson, because he's got the legs that none of the others have got. He's got the ability to pass and see a pass that no one else can see. You need that to hit teams. That's interesting. Jeff says, after hearing that Reese's having arguments with Bulut, let Reese take over for now. Mate. And this is the other thing, it's not just Bulut's contract they're going to have to pay up. It's all the backroom staff that he's got. So it's a mess for Cardiff. It's a real mess. My player rating. So we start with Jack Alnwick. I was very happy to see Jack Alnwick in the squad. And I thought he pretty much did. I thought he was really good. Really good. I thought he was. Don't think he did anything wrong. I mean, the Ebo Adams thing, he kind of messes that up right at the end, but you know, it was just injury time, and it was like him up on the halfway line, so you can kind of forgive that. I would give, Alnwick's probably the only one I'm giving a 7. To be fair, Callum Chambers. 6. I thought he was all right. I thought he should have been more proactive on the goal. It was his man or his area when that cross comes over, and I felt like he should have come to meet it, because if he comes to meet it, the Derby player who finishes it at least has an obstacle in his way instead of just a free shot. And I felt like that was Chambers' area. I give Chambers a 6. NG, I kind of agree with Jeff, 3. I think he needs a break, NG, and I think for a variety of reasons, I would look to be playing someone else there for the time being, whether that's bringing in K Pacquiao and giving the youth a chance, or you move Fish or Chambers there. Like, I think he needs a break. Gutas, 4. I was worried about Gutas last year, people will remember. I thought he was a bit rash at certain points and made mistakes. But when he moved to the right-hand side of the defence early on, that seemed to settle him. And then at the end of the season, I thought he was quite poor, but we were kind of safe. They've been awful, like, with the greatest of respect. You know, from a purely football point of view, I just think he's been awful. And when I saw that Fish was on the bench, but Gutas was starting, I couldn't get my head around it, because if Fish is fit to go on the bench, if one of them gets an injury in the first 2 minutes, he's coming on anyway. So he's fit. So let's start him, because Gutas has looked a liability. Now, as it came about, the goal comes from the centre-back area, from across, probably more Chambers' area, but, you know, they're both there. I thought Gutas was pretty sloppy with the ball. Defensively, he just looks like he's a mistake waiting to happen. So, yeah, it's sort of 5, 4, 5. Joel Bagan, I thought, was pretty good, but yeah, 6. Siopis was a man of 2 halves. I'd like to give him 2 marks. First half, I thought he was 3. Second half, I thought he was more like a 6, maybe 6.5. Joe Rolls, such a weird one, 6. So if Joe was, for me, if Joe Rolls was fit, which I argue whether he was fit enough to start after being out for so long, but if Joe was fit, I felt like it should have been him and Robertson in midfield. But I thought he did all right. He was pretty tidy, works hard, 6. O'Dowda, I love Callum O'Dowda, and I was glad to see him in the wing, on the wing, but I thought he was real poor yesterday. I thought he's been pretty poor at fullback as well, but you kind of put it down to he's not a fullback, so, you know, once he gets on the wing, he'll be better. I thought he was really poor yesterday, so I'm going to give him a 4. Kanga, 4. Don't really need to say anything else. Ruben, 5. I know, 5.5, 6. Like, just, it was all right. I do feel for him a little bit, but he was the only one who looked like, if I was marking attitude, I would give him probably an 8 or a 9. He was the only one who looked like he genuinely wanted to be there, probably with Bagan. The rest of them looked disinterested. El Ghazi, I don't know, 4 or 5. But, mate, right, El Ghazi, there's no way El Ghazi is fit enough to start. Outrageous to drop Willock for El Ghazi. El Ghazi is going to be massive for us when we get him up fit. He's quality, too good for the championship. But there's no way he is fit. So you've got him and Kanga both not fit enough to press, not fit enough to do the things you need them to do in a game. So why are you playing two of them? And then you've got Joe Rolls coming back from injury. So you've got three players who are potentially not up to speed in the starting 11, whilst dropping other players who are. Incredible decision-making from the manager. El Ghazi off the bench, 20 minutes, comes on, has a little cameo. That's the way to get him fit. Kanga, 20 minutes off the bench, hopefully gets a goal against tired defenders, gives him a confidence boost. That's the way to manage his fitness, not play him for an hour. So it's another 70 minutes where Kanga's played, hasn't scored, his head's going to drop, lacking confidence, etc. Frustrating. Fish, I thought was pretty good. 6.5. Robertson, he didn't really get much of a chance to do much. Disappointing to not see him and Walls together. Maybe a 5. Willock, again, didn't do much. 5. Tanner, I thought was not good. 4.5. 5. We are lacking pace. We're lacking urgency. We're lacking attitude and commitment. But most of all, the players just don't look like they're playing for the manager. And as I titled the show, once you lose the away fans, once you lose the players, there's rarely time to get back. I hope he gets it back. I hope he can get it together and make changes. But for me, we got a big problem because we've got Leeds next up. And here's the players who I think categorically Errol Bulut. If Errol Bulut's in charge against Leeds, Gutas will play. Perry NG will play if fit. Joe Rawls will play. Siopis will play. O'Dowda will play. And Kanga will play. Well, with the exception of Joe Rawls, all of those players have put in droppable performances. Not 1 week, not 2 weeks, but 5 weeks, most of them, apart from Joe Rawls. They've all been shocking. But yeah, it's Ruben Colwell's fault, or it's Ollie Tanner's fault, or it's name any other young player's fault. The manager needs to take responsibility and change things and pick players on form, change his system, because his system is gash, doesn't work in this. Like, football's moved on. Go and look at all the Premier League goals that have been scored this year and all the Championship goals of this year and see how many goals have been scored by a turnover in the press where teams trying to play out from the back. And then go and look at Man City yesterday against Brentford, where Man City went direct to Haaland and then played off him and played their nice tippy-tappy passing one-touch football in the attacking third. Even Pep has seen that trend and changed the way he goes about stuff. Granted, he's got one of the best footballing goalkeepers in the world, but Jack Alnwick is capable of playing a 30-yard pass. Not a lump up field, a pass to a Kanga, a Colwell, a winger. But they're doing it. They won't go against what the manager wants. The manager wants them to play up from the back. Change is coming, whether we like it or not. Whether you agree that Bulut's the man or not, whether you want patience or not. Man, it's changing. It's going to happen. It's a matter of time. It's not even an if now, it's a when. Just had confirmation. Jamie Anderson will be joining me this evening for the breakdown. So make sure you join us for that at 8 o'clock this evening, where we go deep into the game. And of course, we will also have the Flower Hour vlog, 11 o'clock tomorrow, this morning. That'll be up. And also, don't forget, the Cardiff City phone-in returns tomorrow with Steve and the gang. So check that out, 6 o'clock on Cardiff City World. And then we got a whole host of content every day this week on Cardiff City World. And of course, check out acepodcastnation as well. But I appreciate you all joining me for the breakfast show. It's Happer Steak on a Sunday morning. Enjoy your days. Cardiff City ruining weekends for 125 years. In a bit.